All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are jumping right into a concept you've probably seen everywhere online. We're talking about dark feminine energy.
Yeah, you've seen these archetypes, right? The siren, the queen, the witch. They all point to this magnetic, mysterious power. Something that's super alluring, but maybe a little bit dangerous too.
And that's the whole thing about this energy, isn't it? It doesn't have to shout to be heard. This quote, "She is the proof," man, that hits the nail on the head. It's about a woman who is so secure, so centered, that her presence alone is the statement.
So, what is this energy that can command a room without even saying a word? Let's get real for a second, cut through all the TikTok trends and the hype, and figure out what we're actually talking about here.
Okay, so first up, the dark feminine mystique. Before we go any further, we have to define our terms. What does this really mean, and why is everyone so fascinated by it?
Now, here's the definition, and this is super important. It's the misunderstood part of the feminine psyche. We're talking power, transformation, even chaos, and deep intuition. The key word here is misunderstood. This is not about being evil or manipulative. No way. It's really about embracing all the parts of yourself that society kind of tells women to, push down. Your ambition, your anger, your boundaries, all that good stuff.
And you can see this energy in so many icons, right? People like Angelina Jolie, Beyoncé, Megan Fox, Rihanna, even a fictional character like Blair Waldorf. What do they all have in common? They just radiate this unshakable confidence, a little bit of mystery, and they are totally 100% unapologetic about who they are. They own it.
All right, next section. Light versus dark energy. Because, to really get a handle on the dark feminine, you have to understand that it's just one side of the coin. It's not a standalone thing. It exists in balance with its opposite.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have the light feminine, nurturing, playful, forgiving, kind of angelic. Then you have the dark feminine, assertive, seductive, mysterious, and primal. It's that grounded, self-possessed, mature energy.
Some people even describe this as a journey. The journey from girl, which represents that light feminine energy, to woman, which embodies the dark feminine. And that's such a game-changing way to look at it, right? It's not just some personality type you're stuck with. It's about growth. It's about maturity and a deep self-awareness that you can only really get through experience.
Okay, so we've talked about the what. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually practice this? Well, it seems to come down to three main principles of power.
Yep, here they are. Cultivate mystery, uphold your standards, and master your absence. It all boils down to these three things, really. It's about how you carry yourself, how you protect your energy, and how you define your own worth. Let's start with cultivating mystery. This is huge. It means moving in silence, you don't overshare, your privacy becomes your power. Think about it. Not everybody deserves a front row seat to your life. Not everyone needs to know your next move or your biggest dreams. When you're selective about who gets access to you, your presence becomes so much more powerful. And this quote, wow, your boundary is your absence and your standard is your silence. This is so powerful. It basically means when someone crosses a line, you don't get into a big argument. You don't try to prove you're right. You just withdraw. You pull your energy and your presence back. And trust me, that silence, that absence, it says way more than screaming ever could.
Okay, but we have to go deeper, because this isn't just about how you act on the outside. This whole concept is tied to some really profound, deep inner work. We're talking about the alchemy of the shadow.
So how do you turn pain into power? That's really the million-dollar question here, isn't it? And the answer is in this ancient idea of alchemy, the magical art of transformation.
This is what people call shadow work. It's about facing all the parts of yourself that you've repressed, the rage, the trauma, the desires you're not supposed to have. The famous psychologist Carl Jung talked about this. He said we all have a shadow self, and the goal isn't to get rid of it, but to face it and integrate it. Because that's where your hidden power, your real potential, is just waiting for you. And this is what that alchemy looks like in real life. Rejection? That becomes redirection. Jealousy? You turn that into fuel. Disappointment? That's just a tool for your own evolution. Instead of letting all this negative stuff drain you, you learn how to alchemize it. You turn it into motivation, into growth, into success. So after all this talk about mystery and shadows and power, what's the point? What's the end game here? The goal is actually divine balance. And this might be the most important thing to remember.
The objective is not to live in the dark all the time. That's just another form of imbalance. No, the real goal is to integrate both energies. A truly powerful person is balanced. They know when to be soft and when to be strong, when to be nurturing and when to be assertive.
You see, when you bring the light and the dark together in balance, you get what's often called the divine feminine. It's the integrated self. It's not about choosing a side. It's about becoming whole. It's about having your entire toolkit of emotions and powers available to you at all times.
Which brings us to this final fact, and it just perfectly sums up the entire mindset. I don't chase, I choose. See, this journey isn't about chasing after people, or validation, or approval. It's about building such a deep sense of your own worth that you become magnetic. You don't have to chase anything because you operate from a place of power, a place of sovereignty, where you are the one who gets to choose. And that, right there, is the true essence of this energy.